Hey guys, it's Scully. Um, just kind of had something on my mind lately, and I just kind of wanted to talk about it. It's kind of important, I feel like. But you know, when you have struggles with like mental health, like depression, anxiety, for instance, those things can get to a point where they become too much to handle, and that's usually where you kind of go get help and try to figure out what's going on, what's causing it, get to the root of the issue. Sometimes it's just different than people portray it to be. It's just more complicated. Like, gonna find the right doctor, get on the right medication, and live happily ever after. Yeah. I really wish it was that simple. Because most of the time, it's not. It's very frustrating. And the people who try to help, they try their best. People don't have what's wrong with them written on their foreheads. There's a lot of different symptoms that go with a lot of diseases. So you're not going to figure it out in just one night. A lot of times it's going to be quite a process. It's going to take several steps. So the road to recovery is very difficult. But from the patient standpoint, it's so hard. And it's like, no matter how many times you tell people how hard it is, it's like telling them it's difficult is one thing, and then actually going through it is something else. Because as much as you'd like for it to be a fairy tale, it's not. You can try countless medications, all with different horrible side effects before you find the right one. And ones that are very expensive too. Cost is another very big component of things like treatment, and that can vary from location and many other factors. But it's very difficult being the patient, having somebody sit and pick your brain apart, try to figure out what's wrong with you. People are very complex, deal with a lot of things in their lives, and everybody deals with it differently. Some people are very open to talking about things they've been through, what they've dealt with, and more direct about asking for help itself, but other people are not. They go to things like treatment kicking and screaming. They really don't want to be helped because they're afraid. And if they've been through a lot in their lives, and you have to go tell some stranger about it, and that person's going to just pry you apart and see what makes you tick. I mean, people don't want to be just split apart like that. Things that they've kept secrets from maybe even the closest people in their lives because they didn't want to talk about it. It was stuff that was very deep, very serious. And how serious some of the stuff is, again, also depends on the person. What's serious to one person may not be for somebody else, or just simply how people handle it can be different. So when you go through all the trouble of finding somebody, you spend money, you spend time talking to them, and they kind of pick you apart to see how your brain works, and you reach a turning point in that patient-doctor relationship where things don't work out, that can be very devastating. Can you imagine spending all that time, all that money talking to a complete stranger, then revealing the most personal, private details of your life, and for whatever reason things don't work out? I mean, thanks for your help, Now what? Not only do they know detail things about your life that you didn't want to talk about, possibly, unless you're an open book like me, I guess. But assuming you didn't want to talk about it in the first place, now they know that stuff about you, and trust is difficult for you, and you open up to some stranger, well, great. Try doing that all over again because it didn't work out. And what if you were really scraping by financially to get help and things didn't work out? I mean, yeah, the first medication you're on is probably not going to be it. Sometimes even multiple doctors may have to look at you, or, even a couple different therapists. Yeah, people are human, people make mistakes. Yes, it is a risk you take when you get treatment. And when you find the right person, it is worth it. To get better, to get your life back, to keep going, moving forward. It's a gift every day. It is. But sometimes even the greatest things in life that we take for granted they have a very hefty price. So if you've been through that process numerous times, trusted many people to help you, and you feel like you're constantly reaching a dead end, I mean, at what point do you just kind of stop? Do you just keep going? Do you just keep trying until you find the right person? Or do you just stop because it's too much? You can't afford it? Maybe it's even making your mental health worse. Is there a right answer, wrong answer? Well, maybe it's best to take a break for a while and come back to it. Maybe things don't have to be set in stone. But with mental illness, you hear about all the bad parts. Maybe not all of them, and that's the issue. You need to know about both parts, the good and the bad. But that includes treatment too. Knowing that these obstacles may come forward when you try to seek out treatment. I'm sure many of you that you've tried to seek out treatment in your life have probably dealt with this at some point. So you probably have an idea of what I'm getting at with some of this. But I did want to spend some time and talk about it a little bit, because if you are looking for treatment, I feel like one of the things that people don't talk about, you may move 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, and be frustrated because you're not making the progress you hope to achieve right away. But don't let that discourage you. The greatest things in life take the most amount of work. So much so that we question, like, oh my gosh, why am I still doing this? This is so difficult. I had no idea it was going to take this much work. Well, it's okay to struggle. It's okay to be frustrated. Or even take a break if you have to sometimes. I mean, sometimes that has to happen. But again, don't let it discourage you. 5 steps backward after the 2 steps forward may feel like you're farther than you were before. But you're closer than you were before because you started going forward. You took that risk. You took that leap. Despite what could have possibly gone wrong, you still took that risk anyway, and that's important. That's a very important step because it involves leaving your comfort zone, which a lot of people struggle with. And the first step with anything is leaving your comfort zone and taking a chance. Because there are a lot of times in your life where you will have to take a risk. You will have to leave your comfort zone at some point. So knowing that you took that first step should be an achievement in itself. So remind yourself that and use that as a reason to keep going and to try again. Because when the time is right, things will line up the way they're supposed to. You will get to where you need to go. And you will achieve the outcome that you're looking for. So until next time, have a great day, guys.